Hello everyone, this is Carla and welcome back to the studio. And thank you for joining me for my monthly Christmas card inspiration. So on the first of every month throughout the entire year, I'll have a video where I create two fairly simple Christmas cards, something that you can easily mass produce. The whole idea behind this is if you want to create your own Christmas cards and do them throughout the year rather than waiting until probably like November or December. And because of the hustle and bustle of everything, they may not get done. And that's kind of like what happens to me. So the whole idea with these series of videos that I do is to give you some inspiration on your Christmas card making throughout the year. Now, if you don't have the particular set that I may be using, you can always use the layout or maybe the color combination and use what you have. So for this episode, I am using the Perfectly Plaid photopolymer stamp set along with the coordinating pine tree punch. And also I'll be using the coordinating wrapped in plaid 6x6 specialty design series paper. This was all part of a suite of products back in 2019. So let's get started. So for my first card, I have a piece of cherry cobbler measuring 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of basic white measuring 5 1/4 by 4. We'll be using this piece for the inside of our card. I have a piece of that wrapped in plaid specialty DSP measuring 3 by 3. And then I have a piece of basic white measuring 2.5 by 2.5. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And I'll set that aside. And then my DSP we're going to attach, actually we can go ahead and we can adhere this to our base. And I'm going to place that about here. Okay. And then on this piece, I'm going to stamp in shaded spruce ink. One of the trees, I'm using the one that's got the plaid design on it. And I'm going to ink this up like so. And I'm going to stamp, make sure it's straight. And I'm going to center that on this cardstock piece. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in the greeting that says ho ho ho. And I'm going to stamp that on the side. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to stamp that right here. Okay. And then, let's see, let's close this up because we're done with this color. And I'm going to bring in my punch. And I'm going to punch out this tree. So the cardstock is a little smaller than the punch, so I'm going to just move my cardstock in place and then just punch out that tree. Now this is the piece that we have left. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. And I'm going to add them in each of the corners. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my card base, and I'm going to center this over the DSP. Like, make sure that's straight, like so. Okay. And then for the inside, I'm going to take this tree and add some adhesive, so we're not wasting. We're actually using this piece that we punched out. Now, when you go to punch the tree out, you do want to stamp it first, so that way you know where the center is of that piece of cardstock. Okay, and then I'm just going to place that in the bottom right hand corner, and then I'm going to bring in the Merry Christmas greeting and my cherry cobbler ink. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to stamp that right in the center. Hold it there for a moment. Okay, we'll close this up, and then I'm going to add adhesive to the back of this. Place it inside my card. And get it in there straight. Okay. Okay, and then for the front of our card, I'm going to bring in our festive pearls and use 3 of the really small gold ones. And I'm just going to line them up to the left of that DSP, like so. Okay, so that is our first card. On to our next. Okay, so for my second card, I have a piece of shaded spruce measuring 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of basic white measuring 5 1/4 by 4. This will be for the inside of our card. I have a piece of night and navy measuring 5.5 by 2 1/4, and a piece of that wrapped in plaid specialty DSP measuring 5.5 by 2. And then there's a little piece in cutting this. Now the paper is 6 by 6, so you can cut it in 2-inch strips. And when you cut the 5.5, you end up with this 1/2 inch by 2 piece left over. So instead of getting rid of it or throwing it away, we're going to use it to decorate the inside of the card. So this piece was 5.5 by 2, and then the leftover piece is 2 by 1.5. Not 1/2, not 1.5. Sorry about that. And then I have a scrap piece measuring 6 by 2 3/4 of basic white. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And bring my bone folder. Okay. And then I'm going to add these pieces. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this DSP. And I'm going to place that on my night and navy. Meaning to get it centered. Okay, and then I'm going to add adhesive to the back of this. And I'm going to place that across the middle of my card base. Like so. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Then on this piece, I'm going to stamp this tree, and I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy ink. And I'm going to stamp this 3 times. And I'm going to leave some space on the bottom here because after I punch these out, I will then come in and stamp the trunk of the tree. So I'm going to stamp these a total of 3 times. Giving myself some space in between so I can punch them. And then for the inside of the card, I'm going to stamp this tree again. And I'm going to stamp it in the lower right hand corner. And again, I'm going to come up a little bit so I can put that trunk on there as well. Okay, and so let's see, let me bring in my punch. Let me just move that out of the way for a moment and punch out my trees. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with the little stem, well, not stem, trunk. I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm just going to line that up on that trunk part right here from the punch. Okay, and then we'll add one to our inside, like so. Okay, and then I will bring in my shaded spruce ink, and I will stamp our greeting, hoping that you're okay. Let's just stamp it first and then read it. It'll be much easier. I'm going to center that right there. Hoping that your busy year comes together in Christmas cheer. Okay, so we're done with our stamping. And that little piece of the DSP that was left over, I'm going to take this piece, add some adhesive, and then we're going to add that right to the side, like so. So no waste to any of the paper. We'll add adhesive to this. We'll put this inside our card. Like so. Okay. And then for the trees on our front, we're going to add some dimensionals. Let's remove the paper backings. Okay, and then we're going to start on the outer edges. We're going to place down our trees. I do the two outer edges first and then do the center so that way we have them equally distanced on the card. Move that over just a tad. So, okay, and then I'm going to bring in my festive pearls again, and I'm going to use the gold since we have the gold in the paper, and I'm just going to add one at the very top of our trees, like so. And there we go. That is our second card. Let me remove this out of the way, and let me bring in the other card that we made. So again, the whole concept and idea behind these videos is to give you some inspiration for your Christmas cards, you know, something that is fairly easy, still has a little bit of a wow factor to them, and they're very easily where you can very easy to mass produce. That's what I'm trying to get out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like the projects, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. It does help me in growing it. So I thank you again for joining me, and I'll be back on January 1st with another set of 2 Christmas cards for some inspiration. Thank you for joining me. Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.